All right, let's talk about a book that for millions of people completely flipped the script on how we think about money. We're diving deep into the core lessons of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The goal here is to break down the big ideas and see if they can shift the way you look at your own finances. So let's jump right in.
So the entire book, its whole philosophy, is built on this one simple premise. The author, Robert Kiyosaki, basically had two mentors growing up. First, there was his own father, a brilliant, highly educated man who he calls his poor dad. Then you had his best friend's dad, a savvy entrepreneur who he calls his rich dad. And let me tell you, the advice they gave him about money, well, it was from two different universes.
Before we go any further, I've got a question for you, and it's a big one. Does this feel familiar at all? You work hard, you get your paycheck, you pay your rent, your car payment, your bills, and suddenly, poof, the money's gone. And you've got to get up and do it all over again. That whole cycle, that's what this book calls the rat race.
Okay, so let's really get into the meat of it. We're going to look at these two completely conflicting mindsets that are at the heart of this entire book.
This is the fundamental choice. On one side, you've got poor dad's advice. It's the path we're all taught, right? Go to school, get a good job, get a steady paycheck. It's all about trading your time for security. But then rich dad comes in with a totally different playbook. He says, forget all that. The real goal is to learn how money actually works, so you can get it to work for you.
And that conventional path, well, this is often where it leads. Think about it. You get a raise at work. Awesome. So what happens? You buy a nicer car or a bigger house. Your income went up, sure, but your expenses shot right up there with it. You're working harder, making more, but you're not actually getting ahead. You're just a hamster on a fancier wheel, working for your boss, the tax man, and the bank. That is the trap of the rat race.
So the big question is, how do you escape? How do you get off the wheel? Well, it all starts with the very first lesson Rich Dad taught, and it was a real mind-bender designed to completely change how you think about a job.
Picture this. Kiyosaki is just 9 years old and he gets his first job working for Rich Dad, and his pay a whopping 10 cents an hour. I mean, can you imagine? He was angry, he felt exploited, and he was totally ready to quit. And believe it or not, that's exactly what Rich Dad wanted to happen.
Rich Dad later explained that making him angry was the entire point. He wanted him to feel that sting, that frustration of being trapped by a tiny paycheck. Because that feeling, that dissatisfaction, that's what sparks you to look for a different way. You know, most people just learn to live with it. Rich Dad wanted him to get mad enough to challenge it. And then came the real masterclass. Rich Dad's next offer was even crazier. He wanted the boys to work for free. Nothing. Zero. By taking the paycheck completely out of the picture, he forced them to stop thinking like employees. Their eyes had to open up. They had to start looking for opportunities to create money, not just earn it. And right there, that's when their real education started.
Now, this experience leads us directly to the book's golden rule. It's the absolute foundation for how to build wealth, and it all boils down to one incredibly simple but powerful distinction.
Here it is. This is arguably the most important sentence in the whole book. You have got to know the difference between an asset and a liability. And once you do, you only buy assets. That's the game.
So, what's an asset? It's defined so simply. An asset is anything that puts money in your pocket. It's like a little money-making machine you own. It could be a rental property bringing in cash each month, stocks paying you dividends, or a business that runs itself. It's something that pays you. And a liability is, you guessed it, the exact opposite. It's anything that takes money out of your pocket. Your car payment, credit card debt, and here's the controversial one, even the mortgage on the house you live in. If cash is flowing out of your pocket every month to pay for it, it's a liability. The only thing that matters is the direction of the cash flow. Okay, so if the whole point is to buy assets, how do you actually do it? Well, Rich Dad's advice was simple. Mind your own business. Now, this does not mean go into work tomorrow and quit your job. It's a much deeper idea than that.
Here's the practical game plan. You keep your day job. That's what pays the bills and keeps the lights on. While you're doing that, you focus on reducing your liabilities, the things that drain your cash. Then you take the money from your job and you start buying those income-producing assets. You just keep doing that over and over, building up your asset column until eventually the money coming in from your assets is bigger than your monthly expenses. That's the escape hatch.
And this right here is such a critical difference in behavior. So many of us, when we want a luxury item, we just go out and buy it, maybe putting it on a credit card. But the rich, they play a different game entirely. They build their assets first, and then they use the income that those assets generate to buy the luxury. The fancy car isn't the goal, it's the reward for having successful assets.
So this brings us to the final, and maybe the most important lesson of all. What's the most valuable asset you could ever possibly own? It's not a stock, it's not real estate. It's what's right up here, between your ears. It's your financial intelligence.
Rich Dad used to use this awesome analogy. He'd ask people, "Can you make a better hamburger than McDonald's?" And I bet most of us would say, "Yeah, of course. We could use better meat, better ingredients. We could probably make a fantastic burger."
Okay, but if your burger is so much better, why is McDonald's a multi-billion-dollar global empire and you're not? It's a great question, and it has absolutely nothing to do with the quality of the hamburger. The answer is that McDonald's isn't really in the hamburger business at all. They are in the business systems business. They have absolutely mastered their supply chain, their real estate, their marketing, their employee training. It's the system that's brilliant, not just the product. The system is the real moneymaker.
And that brings it all back to us. The book's final lesson is to work to learn, not just to earn. Instead of becoming hyper-specialized in just one thing, focus on learning the skills of wealth. Learn how to manage cash flow, learn how to manage systems, and learn how to manage people. Those are the 3 skills that truly build fortunes.
So in the end, that's what it all comes down to. The whole philosophy of Rich Dad Poor Dad challenges us to look in the mirror and ask this one fundamental question. Are you spending the best years of your life working for money, or are you learning how to make your money work for you? Are you building someone else's asset, or are you building your own? Because the answer to that question, really, will shape your entire financial future.